Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Before we take a look at your stories in detail, let's take a look at your top stories for this afternoon.
Medical officials attached to 5 hospitals launch trade union action. Heavy showers exceeding 150 millimeters to be expected today. Landslide warnings issued for 6 districts. Special sticker issued to vehicles entering Colombo today as well. Israeli opposition to form a new government.
In your top story this afternoon, the Joint Health Workers Union launched a 4-hour strike across 5 major hospitals, including the Colombo National Hospital. They had several demands. Newsfirst Senator Senanaika reports.
Right now, I'm at the premises of the Colombo National Hospital, where a strike action is taking place, organized by the Health Services Trade Union Confederation. We are joined by the president of the Health Management Officers Union, which is a part of the Health Services Trade Confederation, Mr. Namal Jayasinghe. Mr. Jayasinghe, can you explain to us what this trade union action is and what you're demanding out of it?
Yes. Today we have gathered here to tell to the whole country and officials about this injustice for our health staff. Because in this COVID era, we don't have enough transport facilities, but other all the facilities we don't have. We have informed the officials to make necessary arrangements to give allowance for all the staff, but they don't agree for those our request, and finally we have decided to get together and have a collective sound for them.
Mr. Jayasinghe, when and where will this trade union action will take place?
Yes, today in all the hospitals and health institutions, we have organized this workout and this protest program. Actually, there are 9 hospitals, mainly 9 hospitals, this workout, and all the hospitals this lunchtime picketing.
The trade union action was carried out at 5 main hospitals in Colombo, including the National Hospital, starting from 8 a.m. this morning till 12 noon. Not making employees permanent, not granting the COVID-19 allowance for employees residing in high-risk areas, and issues revolving around the vaccination drive as well as the PPEs were cited as reasons behind this trade union action.
Definitely the demands are justified. With the COVID-19 pandemic, all health workers are risking their lives to complete their duties. So we request to provide a risk allowance to the workers, provide all facilities without holding back. Then we will continue our duties. Give us the required facilities, think about our risks and appreciate our services.
The company that owns the MV Express Pearl, a ship that is currently sinking a few nautical miles off the Colombo port, has said that they have already appointed representatives to work with Sri Lankan authorities and to take immediate action if an oil spill occurs at the site of the casualty.
Express Feeders, the operators of the container ship MV Express Pearl, has confirmed that the ship's aft portion is sitting on the seabed at a depth of about 21 meters and the forward section is settling down slowly. While the front section of the ship has begun sinking, the operators of the ship have confirmed that no oil leakage has commenced as of now. Early estimates are that most of the cargo has been incinerated during the fire.
The ever-picturesque sea of Sri Lanka, an eye-catching spectacle, is a blessing to my nation. Surrounding our mother with the protection of a father.
The Sea of Sri Lanka.
The Natural Hazards Early Warning Center at the Department of Meteorology said very heavy rainfall exceeding 150 millimeters are likely at some places across the island today. But of course, for an update on the current adverse weather that Sri Lanka is experiencing, we are joined by Disal Kapuge, joining us from the Newsfirst Weather Center. Disal, what is the latest situation? What is the forecast?
To look at the weather report published by the Met Department, in an advisory for heavy rain, the Met Department said that the prevailing showery condition in the southwestern parts of the country, particularly in the western, Sabaragamuwa and central provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts, is expected to continue further. Now the districts of Colombo, Gampaha, Kaluthara, Galle, Mathura, Ratnapura, Nuwara, Kegalle and Kandy have been identified as high risk zones. According to the Met Department, the highest rainfall in the past 24 hours that ended this morning was reported from Ingiriya, and that amount stands at 326.5 millimeters. This was followed by 287 millimeters of rain recorded in Pasyala and 244.5 millimeters in Horana. Now, if you look at this map, you can see that there's a depression forming towards the west of the country, and this can be the cause of the rains that we will be experiencing in the next couple of days. And a few weeks ago, we saw a cyclone that passed through the Bay of Bengal. But however, the southwestern monsoon that is currently making its way through the country can be the cause of the rains that we will be experiencing in the next few days, according to the Met Department.
Now, the monsoon season sets in. There are a number of natural disasters that tend to hit Sri Lanka. One of the most serious of these natural disasters are landslides. What's the situation like? The NBRO has issued warnings. An update on that?
Yes, Shalan. Now, if you look at the warnings issued by the NBRO, they issued landslide warnings for Colombo, Kaluthara, Galle, Mathura, Ratnapura and Nuwara districts. Now, the Disaster Management Center, also known as the DMC, said low-lying areas in Ingiriya, Horana, Muduruvela and Millenia along the banks of the Kalu River could be inundated due to inclement weather. So we advise the general public to take precaution in the coming few days due to increasing inclement weather throughout the country.
Thank you very much, Disal, for that update. And do stay tuned to Newsfirst. We will continue to keep you up to date on the latest that the Weather Department has to communicate to the general public. Moving on in more local news, Newsfirst has continued to report on the issues faced by farmers across the island as a result of the severe shortage of fertilizers. Farmers residing in Sinipura and Akbopura areas in Kantale have also fallen victim to this serious issue.
The farmers charge that the cultivation for this season are being destroyed as a result of the fertilizer shortage. Around 150 families that depend on farming activities urge the authorities to provide sufficient fertilizer to continue agricultural activities.
Well, farmers are suffering as a result of a severe shortage of fertilizer. Fishermen across the country are finding it extremely difficult to sell their stocks as a result of the travel restrictions that continue to be in force across the country.
Fishermen in Chilau set sail yesterday after a hiatus of a month with an abundance of hopes. However, because there is no control price for their catch, the fishermen are facing many hardships. The prevailing COVID-19 situation of the country, inclement weather and the sinking MV Express Pearl vessel are only to name a few. It has been 2 years since fishing activities were halted in Kinya Trincomalee. Fishermen have been battered by this move. Although fishermen are allowed to carry out their work in other parts of the island without any hindrance, they are not allowed to do so here due to particular geographical features of the Trincomalee Sea. As a result, arrests by the Navy are frequent. The fishermen request that a license be issued to all those facing this dire situation. Meanwhile, a fisherman who was on a boat that set sail in Mirissa on the 31st of May is still reported missing. Although there were 4 individuals on the boat, unfortunately only 3 of them were saved. The missing individual is a resident of Palana, Valigama. The 3 men who survived the accident were brought to the Galle Fisheries Harbour yesterday with the intervention of Sri Lanka Navy and were admitted to the Mathura General Hospital.
Residents of Madadumbara are finding it severely difficult to move about in their village due to the absence of a bridge to cross over the Galmal Oya.
People living in the villages of Thannevala, Retiyagama, Kiribattalawa and Labuangoda in the Madadumbara Divisional Secretariat have been impacted due to this issue. With no safe bridge in place to cross over the Galmal Oya, the villagers have no option but to travel 3 to 4 kilometers using alternative routes to reach their destinations. The villagers lament that transporting their produce has become an arduous task due to this issue.
පොඩි ළමයිට එහෙම හරිම දුෂ්කරයි ඉස්කෝලේ තියෙන රේටියගම ඉස්කෝලේ ඒකට යන්නත් අපහසුයි.
එම උණගස් සියල්ලම දැන් විරලා කඩ වැටලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් යන්න එන්න මගක් නැහැ. සන්දේ කාලෙට නම් මන්ත්‍රීතුමාලා එනවා. ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් පොඩ්ඩක් මැනගෙන යනවා. ඉන්පස්සේ ආයි දකින්නත් නැහැ කිසි කෙනෙක්.
Villagers say one casualty was reported due to strong currents in the Galmal Oya during the incessant rains in the past few days. The temporary set-up bridge is at a dilapidated state at the moment.
මේකේ යනවා 150ක් 200කට වැඩිය යනවා මේ කුඹුරු වල වැඩ කරන ඔක්කොමලා මෙහෙන් එන්නේ. මේකේ ඔය වතුර වැඩි වුණාම කට්ටිය මෙතනින් කිලෝමීටර් 3ක් විතර පයින් එන්න ඕනේ වටේ ගිහිල්ලා මේ පැත්තට එන්න. වැටලා අපේ මාමා කෙනෙක් නැති වුණා මේ මෙතන වැටලා.
අපිට මේ පාලම ඉදි කළ දුන්නොත් ඉදිරි පරම්පරාවට මේ ගොවිතැනක් කරගන්නට තෙතක් වෙයි කියලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been many discussions surrounding switching from in-person learning to online learning. But how far successful has this procedure been in Sri Lanka? This report is from the Kandegama village in Ridhimaliyadda, where children there are finding it extremely hard to access internet for online learning activities.
The villagers of the Ridhimaliyadda village have been suffering without proper communication facilities for many years. Kandegama is a Grama Niladhari division combining 5 villages. The main mode of income for 450 families in the village is paddy cultivation. Although the children are inherently talented at studies, they don't have the required facilities. The COVID-19 pandemic has now plunged not only the school students but also the university students as well. The villagers grieve that although they have been requesting the authorities to solve this issue, nothing has been done in that regard.
The government continued the distribution of the 5,000 rupee allowance today under the criteria that was announced by the government previously. However, it was observed that residents of several areas were not aware of the circular that was issued by the office of the Prime Minister, nor that these allowances were being distributed. A large crowd gathered at the Kakalangane Tamil College in Balanguda to receive the 5,000 rupee allowance today. Many were turned back empty-handed as the allowance was only being given to some of the beneficiaries.
During 2020, the government delivered the 5,000 rupee from the amount granted to the families eligible to receive the Samurdhi fund. It's been an year and the government still hasn't given back the money they took from the Samurdhi department. Today, the provincial council members and secretaries are distributing this money which belongs to the people like it's their own funds. There is a rural committee under the leadership of the Samurdhi officer, including the Grama Niladhari, development officer, midwife, police officer, chief incumbent of the temple, the principal, other leading personalities in the village and the auspices of the chairman of the Pradesh Sabha. This rural committee creates a list with those eligible for the allowance. Those eligible will receive the 5,000 rupee allowance through the Samurdhi bank. It is granted to those who lose their daily wages. When we first started giving it, they said we are reducing it from the fund. No, this is given to support the people. Pradeshia Sabha politicians are going from house to house asking if they want the allowance. There is a publicity campaign where these politicians are trying to convince the people that this is not given from the government but from their own money. Everything is politicized. Political victimization, political prejudice, all of this is taking place now. The government has to immediately take steps to stop this.
A considerable number of vehicles were seen entering Colombo today despite travel restrictions continue to be in effect. Now, according to our correspondents spread across the district of Colombo, the rate of entry of vehicles into the district of Colombo was relatively less than yesterday. The Sri Lanka police said the special sticker process implemented yesterday in respect of vehicles that enter Colombo will continue today as well, but with a different color code at 52 locations. Moving on in more local news, an update from the latest COVID-19 situation in the country. The 39 COVID-19 related deaths were reported last night. The Department of Government Information said that deaths reported within a 10-day period from the 17th of May to the 1st of June has increased the total number of deaths in the country to 1,566. Furthermore, 3,306 COVID-19 patients were identified yesterday, increasing the total number of cases in the country to 31,833. Meanwhile, the vaccination rollout continues in several areas across the country today as well, amid criticism from the opposition regarding irregularities in the vaccination process.
Meanwhile, views were expressed on the political stage regarding the importation of vaccines to Sri Lanka. Bangladesh has certified that they will receive the vaccine for $10, but Sri Lanka is receiving it at $15. And the cabinet minister at a media briefing says that this price has been determined following discussions. I would like to clearly state that it is because of the commission that this price is changing. The opposition has been vociferous about this vaccination importation and its program for more than a year. But as of now, the government has come to a point where they cannot import vaccines because of the stubbornness they have. Different countries have purchased the vaccine at different prices. Therefore, I would like to say that there is no fraud here. These allegations are leveled at us to sabotage this program. As a government, our attempt is to purchase the vaccine at any price to save lives of our Sri Lankans. It is the same people who robbed the tsunami fund who are there in the present regime. If they rob the tsunami fund, getting a commission from the vaccine importation program is nothing for them. I would like to ask the government to launch an investigation into this matter and find out whether other countries have received this vaccine for lower prices than us. And also I would like to tell the government to put a halt to this unfair game as well.
And that's a wrap of Lunchtime News on TV1 for today. Of course, to follow details of these stories and more, you can log on to our award-winning website, www.newsfirst.lk, and also follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm Charlotte Benedict, the News First team. Take care. God bless.